Yeah,
Thank you.
Sure. Good. Actually, one second. I'm gonna bring the boy a bit closer.
Okay, and your barman at the same time. We're gonna be joining a 1-hour tour inside Amsterdam. It's very nice that we booked this tour because normally it would take 6 to 7 hours to walk the entire thing. So it's 1 hour with the boat is better, especially during sail. I think you've seen what's happening close to Central Station. I don't know if you booked to come here in Amsterdam for sail. Is anyone booked for sail? No? By accident?
My name is Luke and I born and raised here, so I know quite a lot about the sea. Yeah, I will be also trying to tell you some beautiful stories. However, I'm also in charge of the boating and the radio. Especially now that during sail it's quite busy on the water, so do not pay too much attention on me when I'm talking to the radio. Before we start, I do need to make 2 small safety announcements. Well, they can actually be down to 1 because it's all about everything needs to be in the boat at all times. So even if we're about to bump into something or anything, don't try to intervene. And also, if you're standing up, you're absolutely free to do so. However, please make sure you do it the right timing because something risk can be low, otherwise you have some head injuries. Other than that, I see that most of you already got the word. This might later on, so we'll try to give you some more. We'll put it back. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna pass you the menus for the drinks. We can do cocktails. We also have wine, white wine, rosé, red wine, and a Dutch wine called Heineken. And we also have soft drinks. And I'm gonna pass you the menus. I'm gonna do the drinks. You can also enjoy here because they're preparing for a track concert. You can take some photos and then I'm gonna be back.
On this afternoon, and now there's one more later today. Should be quite nice. Usually they sing some typical Dutch songs, so there won't be a lot of singing along. It's always quite cozy. Yeah. However, let's start, and let me start off with a question towards you, as in who can tell me how cool our city is? Yeah, depending on where you come from. The Italians are not too impressed, but the Americans are. But yeah, we started off that quite small. We were just a very small business village. There was a couple of houses together on the market, and back then we also did different things that were rather 1 to 5 minutes bigger, which is called the haring. And the interesting thing about the haring is that still it's one Dutch delicacy that we have. Our kitchen is not something to be proud of, but it's the one big Amsterdam anymore, and we started to fight for our independence from that moment on. It took us 80 years, but then we managed to win over. It's quite a lengthy war. We refer to it, well, not surprisingly, as the 80 Years' War. However, then we were able to design our own state, our own republic. In fact, it's all before. And well, there were a lot of good things or bad things. However, there was one thing that was really big about the republic, and that was its justice system. Because we designed it in such a way that for the very first time in Europe, there was a place where you could no longer be prosecuted for different religion and faith. So, to a certain extent, origin of religion. And that meant that all of a sudden, a lot of people who could not feel safe in their home country, they took their beliefs and set up an Amsterdam. And luckily for us, very often these were merchants. these merchants had not only know about, but also they had overseas connections to trade. So all of a sudden they started to do the trading from Amsterdam. And the good thing was that the ship from the spice and to those top levels, if you also have very narrow staircases, because they can't be too wide, otherwise we do not have any living space anymore. And that's where the hooks and beams come in, or the cranes. So literally out of every building, except for the one on the right, you'll see those beams and hooks sticking out at the top. And that was part of a levy system, as we were hoisting up all of the goods from the outside on to the top levels, and thereby we would surpass the issue with our staircases. And it was all quite good, and well, it was in fact so good that we're still installing those hooks and beams on modern buildings, as we still use the system to, for example, when we're moving to get furniture out. However, the one issue that persisted at the time was that when it was windy, all our facades kept being damaged when the wind was slamming those goods into our houses. And in order to tackle that problem, we built our houses situated and tilting a bit forward. That way we created a bit of leeway when we were hoisting up the goods, and most of our houses were safe.
Are there still single homes?
Not anymore. So, due to financial reasons, it's not for people to put up in apartments or flats, and then people are living on each of those apartments. Yeah.
Skinny houses are like a flat, and it's a floor, so it's flat. And then the wider ones, it should be 2 flats on the same floor. Maximum 3 to 4 floors, not many, not more than this.
I can do it.
Kijk, dit is flagship. Zij praten altijd de waarheid. De mooie jongens, collega's.
Right, on the left hand side, you'll see one of the most beautiful lofts here that we have in our city. I'm always a bit jealous to the one who gets to live in it currently. However, the funny part is that this was always a window of this size, as this used to be a very large hospital, and when we didn't have electricity, we needed very much the maximum amount of light to pour in our surgical room. So this was then designated surgical room, and this was positioned so well that it was famous for allowing for nighttime surgeries where there was a very bright moonlight.
Everything comes to parts. It's gonna take 3 weeks to fix this thing, but at least you can pass it easily to the 3rd or 2nd floor. Wave back, they are tourists. If they wave back with one finger, they're Dutch, local people. And if they jump and wave, they're American. That's how we know which one is an Airbnb. Now, how these boats came here in Amsterdam? Well, after World War II, we had the huge housing crisis. So Amsterdam said that if you own a boat, you can bring it here in Amsterdam and live in the canals of Amsterdam, and you're not going to pay tax. So everyone likes that, exactly. And many people who own boats, they brought them here in Amsterdam. Well, at some point it got really big, so Amsterdam had to stop this. The exact same location. If you have a boat, you cannot change. You can say, okay, this day I'm going to live here, next week I'm going to change somewhere else. You cannot do that. So if you have this boat, you have the permit, and the permit says that you have this location here. You cannot change it. You also have electricity, water, and access to sewage system. You can put some pipes behind the boat, and the boat is going to houseboat here. You can name it yourself, you can find the name, you can guess it really easily. What's the name of this houseboat? Submarine? No? Submarine. Why everyone is focusing on flowers? It's a submarine. Because it looks like one. And here, left hand side, behind you, there is another boat. And this one, you're not gonna guess it. We call it Kim Kardashian. Because it's curvy from the outside and an office from the inside. Well, it's actually an office, and this office is from architect, and he designed the boat, and the boat gets regulated. And now these ships are big ones. If you want to move the ship, the only reason to move the ship is because you want to service it. So if you want to service the boat, these ships they don't have engines anymore because if you keep the engine, you don't have that much space. You need the space in the boat. So they have removed the engine, and if you want to move it, there is another boat that comes and they told you to do the service. This is also a really expensive thing to do. But once in 5 years, you have maybe 5 years. Now, right hand side after the bridge, this one is an Airbnb. You can book yourself and you can stay there. But keep in mind that you have to book it 6 months in advance. So now here we enter the Amsterdam River, and it goes all the way up in Dam Square, where we have built the dam. So Amsterdam River, the dam, Amsterdam. Well, at first it was Amsterdam Dam, but a couple of years, we did it Amsterdam. And this bridge that you can see that it's really, really busy beneath. This is the skinny bridge. And the legend says that if you kiss your loved one under the bridge, your love will last forever. Here left hand side you will see some houses that they live to the left and to the right. And these houses are the dancing houses, or other people call them the drunk houses. Well, It's an irony to call them the drunk houses because the only one standing straight is an Irish pub. But what happened with these houses is that all of the houses here in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, they are built on a swamp. And they have wooden walls, the foundation of the houses, you have wooden walls, and these walls were submerged inside the swamp. So initially they were 7 meters deep, and then they did the portal dumping because they were exposed to oxygen and they rot. That's why you can see the house